Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Yeshaya Yisrael of the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel. Welcome to the channel, More Yeshaya Hebrew Lessons. Brothers and sisters, at this point of where we are, what we want to do is sit there and emphasize the aspect of Hebrew for Hebrew knowledge. Okay? So we want to sit there and present this love for such is needed. All right? So, brothers and sisters, how Hebrew words are known. The understanding of the bakalam and command form in Hebrew. Now, for those who've been following, we have been dealing with the word asa quite frequently. The word asa, all right, means to do or to make. And, brothers and sisters, it comes in the aspect of being what is referred to as a lamed hey verb. So, with that being the case, brothers and sisters, we want to sit there and get into this particular subject. Let us continue. Shalom. As in the past, we went over the matter of verbs and nouns. We want to point out how in some cases a verb is made into a noun. Most Hebrew verbs have a three-letter root, as we discussed, like asa or like haya. The word haya, brothers and sisters, meaning to live. Okay? So that is the kind of live like to be alive, not say I live in Brooklyn or I live in North Carolina or I live in the Bronx or I live in Africa. When we saying the word kaya meaning to live, is talking about being alive. Okay, so that's what we want to point out in that particular regard. All right, let us continue on. We want to, in the spirit of showing how easy Hebrew is, so that learning the vocabulary one uses on a regular basis is how it can be gleaned. Let's explain, or let's explain. Now, when we speak about the aspect of using the vocabulary that one uses, you understand, on a regular basis. What we're talking about, brothers and sisters, is if you are a chef, you will want to know, brothers and sisters, how to say the word to cook. You will want to know how to say the word for food. You understand? If you are a seamstress or a tailor, you will want to know the word for thread. You will want to know the word for sew. You understand? So these are things we want to point out for edification purposes. All right? So let's continue on, brothers and sisters. Shalom, the goal of this channel. One learns the alphabet, vowels, then one is a reader. Then get a dictionary. From then one can build vocabulary, and it's safe to learn the vocabulary one uses on a regular basis, as explained. Like if one is a chef, learn the word for cook, food, etc. Then from there, one gets into grammar. And from knowing how to read, you build your vocabulary as well as understanding grammar. The next thing is speaking. So these are things, brothers and sisters, we want to point out as far as the goal of this particular channel. Okay? Now, I want to sit there and take the time out now, if we will, and highlight some things. Becoming a reader, right? That's one step. Okay? When you get that aspect, you get a dictionary. From getting your dictionary, you will then be able to build the vocabulary, all right? One uses on a regular basis, all right? Then from there, one gets into the aspect of grammar. And from knowing how to read it, you build your vocabulary, understand grammar. See how easy that is? That's how that works with that as far as the language is concerned. It's not very far-fetched and it's not difficult. And this is why I titled the book that I wrote, Brothers and Sisters, called what? Hebrew is easy. Because it's not difficult, though it is different. All right. So I just want that to be pointed out for edification purposes. Next slide, please. The pronouns in use. The pronouns are they which take the place of a noun. A noun is a person, a place, or a thing. We want to then state that here, Sarah is going. Sarah holeket. She is going. He holeket. So what do we want to point out, brothers and sisters, in this particular regard, right? Is that Sarah is the noun, okay? Now I'm going to sit there and underline these kind of things, and I'm going to underline the actual name of the person in red, and I'm going to underline the name or the pronoun, all right, in blue, as we see there. So what we're pointing out is that the pronoun takes the place of a noun. So you don't always have to say he holeket, brothers and sisters. You can actually say the name of the person if you know it. Okay? So now let's go on to the other aspect. We have elders are going. Zikwanim holchim. Now remember, brothers and sisters, elders is plural. All right? Elders are going. Zikwanim holchim. And when you say they are going, him holchim. So the pronoun, one more time, shown here. All right? Then we have, in this particular regard, Zikwanim holchim. So what you see underlined, brothers and sisters, is what is directly identified either as Sarah as elders. The pronouns that you see that are underlined is in this regard he, which means she or she is, and him, which means they or they are. All right. So now whether you say Sarah, the name of the person we're talking about, Holeket or he Holeket, it's still the aspect of the verb itself still is in the same aspect. All right. Halak, the word halak meaning to go in root. He went in literal translation. The literal translation, brothers and sisters, of the word halak means he went. Okay? The present tense of such is holek, holeket, holakim, and holkot. Now, what I'm going to do right now, brothers and sisters, with the pen aspect is, if we will, right, is write down how that would look. Whole, holek. All right. Then, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes, we have holeket. All right. So you would say what? Who holek, which means he is going. Ata holek, which means you are going. Or a male would say ani holek, which means I am going. All right. Now, if you're speaking in a third person feminine, that's what you see here. When it says he holeket, which means she is going, as we see right here. He holeket. All right. Then you have at holeket, which means you are going. So if I were to be speaking to a female, I would say like at holeket, lemis ada, which means what? You are going to the restaurant. Okay. Then you have him, atem, and anachnu. Him means they or they are. Atem means you all. Anachnu means we. All right? And pardon that. You will have it as all right. You will have it as so. Whole, all right. All right. So let's go here. You have holchim. So you would say as a group of males, right? Anachnu holchim. Atim holchim. Him holchim. Okay, that's how that works in that particular regard. All right, now that's the masculine. The feminine, brothers and sisters, will be as so. Holkot, feminine plural. All right. So you have HOL, holchot. Okay. So you would say hen holchot, which means they are going. Aten holchot, you all are going. And then you have anaknu holchot, which means we are going. Now, what we're seeing right here, brothers and sisters, all right? I want to put this with the laser pointer, is the aspect, brothers and sisters, of the feminine plural. All right? So, brothers and sisters, let's continue on, and I want to emphasize on something else, if you will. Now, you see, we see here anaknu and anaknu, ani and ani, right? So let's look at this, brothers and sisters. You have what? We or we are. We or we are. That means that anaknu is either used by all males or all females. Ani, which means I or I am. A woman would say ani holeket. So it's still saying the aspect of the same aspect. The pronouns for the first person, be it the first person singular, such as ani, or the first person plural, such as anaknu, that does not change. All right, between the genders. So I just want to point that out for edification purposes. What does change, brothers and sisters, between the genders, if we will, is this right here. Who, he, him, and him. That does change between the genders. All right. So let's continue on, brothers and sisters, and go on to the next slide. Thank you. The matter of who or who. Him holchim labayit. Hem holchim labayit. They are going to the house, right? So now let's look at this right here. You have hem holchim beata, right? So now, with that being known as the case, brothers and sisters, what are we pointing out is this, and I want to sit there and highlight that. You see, labayit to the house, and here we have beata. So now, if you look, brothers and sisters, at what's going to be highlighted, that lamed there means to the or for the, and this hey shows as being highlighted the same aspect. Labayit, beata. All right, beata meaning what? To the house. Labayit, to the house. So in Hebrew, you have an option as to whether or not you want to say beta, which means to the house, aka home, or if you just want to say labayit. All right. So that's something to point out in that particular regard. Now, the matter of who in this particular case, all right? Who, it or it is, if the thing is a masculine thing. Now, the pronoun who is what we're talking about. Let's look at this. Cheleb, which means dog. All right. Ha-keleb kum. The dog is brown. Kum who? Brown is he, or brown is it, or it is, or he is brown. So that's what I want to point out in that particular regard, brothers and sisters. Ha-keleb hu kum. Ha-keleb kum. The dog is brown. Kum who? The pronoun, brothers and sisters, as we're going to see highlighted, all right, is right here. The word who. That's the pronoun that we're emphasizing on in this particular regard, right? Then you have the dog is brown. Ha-keleb kum. Brown. The Hebrew word for brown is kum. All right? So whether you say who, speaking of the dog, which is a masculine thing, kum who, you can say that meaning it is brown. That's the emphasis in that particular regard. All right? Let's go on, brothers and sisters, to the next slide. Bakalam, regarding regular verbs. Now, I want to sit there and emphasize the reason why I put regular in quotations is because if it is your language, there's no such thing as regular or irregular. It's a thing of it is what it is as far as it goes down in that particular regard. All right. So let's continue on in this particular case. Bakalam, this is called the bakalam. It is placed as a prefix to verbs for parts of speech emphasis. All right. So in this particular regard, let's look at this here. The bet kaf lamed mem. Bet kaf lamed mem, or as we see here, mem sophie. All right. So what are we pointing out, brothers and sisters? The word bakalam, as we will see right here in like 2 or 4. All right. If you were to drop off that as the prefixes, you would get the, in this particular case, kaf tau bet, kaf tau bet, kaf tau bet, kaf tau bet. All right? The word there, kaf tau bet, the katab, all right, means what? What does the word katab mean, brothers and sisters? All right? It means to write. That's what the word katab means, to write. All right? So now, brothers and sisters, when we're dealing with the bakalam, bet kaf lamet mem, bakalam, the bet represents in or with. So this word right here, all right, biktob, literally means in writing. Biktob hamiktab, which means what? In writing the letter, right? Then you have this word here, kiktob. The word katab is the root of such, and that never ever drops out. All right? So kiktob, brothers and sisters, means what? Like writing, as writing. Kiktob hamiktab, as writing the letter. Okay? And here we have liktob, which means literally what? To write. All right? So what we're looking at as emphasized, liktob, to write. And here we have miktob, which means from or of writing. Now, the reason why I emphasized it on this part here where the laser pointer is at, with the mem, is showing that when they're dealing with the bakalam, see it written as such, you'll see that as such. Now, there's the mem and the mem sofit. That's the reason why I did that in this particular case, as you see here. All right? So now, brothers and sisters, now, what are we looking at? The bet, the kaf, the lamed, or the mem, right? Big Tob, brothers and sisters, in writing. I want to take the time out now, brothers and sisters, to emphasize this particular aspect. All right? Okay. Katab. The word katab, brothers and sisters, in root means to write. So, what we're pointing out is that with this bakalam, right here, when you put the bet, the kaf, the lamed, or the mem, when you make that a prefix to the root of the word, and the root in this particular word here is katab. All right. So when you have a prefix of the bet with it, it means what? In writing, as writing, to write, miktob, from writing. All right. So hopefully that's understood for edification purposes. Okay. Now we want to show, brothers and sisters, the aspect of the bakalam where other aspects of the Hebrew verbs. Bakalam regarding the asa and ratza. All right, what are we looking at right here? The root of this word here, we're looking at the left-hand side of the PowerPoint, right? The word asa, brothers and sisters, means to do or to make, as we've been going over. All right, so now, this wow will get the kolam on top of such. Okay, so this word right here in Hebrew says be'asot, be'asot. Okay, that ayin would take the aspect of patak. K asot. La asot. Me asot, brothers and sisters. So here we have what? The word asa meaning to do or to make. So ba'asot means what? In making, brothers and sisters. All right. So ba'asot in making. Ba'asot tamazon in making the food. Ani bishalti al hatanor. I cooked on the stove. Do we see, brothers and sisters, how understanding certain things like this, you can begin to sit there and formulate sentences. This is the goal of this particular aspect. All right. Here we see asot, which means what? Like making. Ka'asot tamazon. Like or as making. Ka'asot hamazon. As making the food. Ani sam ti shemenba. Which means what? As in making a food, I put oil in it. All right. The word for oil is the word shemen. All right. For edification purposes. Next, we have the word la asot. Literally meaning what? To make or to do. All right. All right. So here we looking at this right here. La asot, to do. La asot means to do or to make. All right. And then next we have me asot, brothers and sisters, which means what? From making. Now we want to emphasize something in this, brothers and sisters, and that is, you notice how the iron, the sin, and the hate is the root of what we're looking at on the left hand side, but yet, brothers and sisters, in this, as highlighted here, as in the other parts, right? We just see oat, 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 oat. We don't see no hay there. So what happens in a nutshell, brothers and sisters, is that the hay drops out when you're dealing with the bakalam. But the root of such, brothers and sisters, is still to be noted. Ba'asot. The letter hey, all right, and I want to emphasize and circle this particular one. I'm going to circle it in a different color. Let's pick blue. All right, this one right here. That hey letter there, brothers and sisters, it drops out when you show this in the aspect of the bakalam. Now, for those who just joined on, the bakalam that we're talking about is this here. This is called the bakalam. It is placed as a prefix to verbs for parts of speech emphasis, all right? So now, at this particular aspect, right? Bakalam. Bakalam. Now, brothers and sisters, in this particular regard, bakalam. All right. When you deal with it, and remember, we went over this, and I put in quotations the word regular on purpose. right? You look at this right here. This is called quote unquote irregular. Lamed Hey verbs are quote unquote irregular. All right. So that's just something I want to point out in that regard. So now, brothers and sisters, looking at this, brothers and sisters, on the right hand side, you have Burzot, Kirzot, Lirzot, Mirzot. What are we saying, brothers and sisters? And I want to sit there and go over this, and I'm gonna write this part in aspect of red, if we will. All right. The root of this right here is the word ratzah. The word ratzah, brothers and sisters, means to want. All right. I want to rewrite that part. The word ratzah means to want. So birzot means what? In wanting. Kirzot, as wanting. Kirzot hamazon kwanitihua. As wanting the food, he bought it. Lirzot, to want. Ani. Nah, that's not going to work out. Lirzot, to want. To want. Brothers and sisters, Lirzot. Lirzot, from wanting. So asa means in Hebrew to make. And ratzah in Hebrew means to want. All right. So that hopefully is understood for edification purposes. Okay. Now I know time now is 8 something on the East Coast. Pretty early for a Hebrew class. I understand that. But from 12 o'clock on today, I'm gonna be busy with my little one. I'm currently in North Carolina, and while she is still in the other room relaxing and sleeping and so forth, I am going to do these classes for the day and then spend the rest of the time of the day from like 1 p.m. on with my little one. So that's what it is as far as it goes with the timing of this particular live stream today. Okay? Because later on, I won't have the time to do it today. So let's continue, brothers and sisters. All right? Lirazot, nirazot, from wanting. Remember, we kept emphasizing that whether or not something is written in or whether or not something is stated, in this particular channel, it holds the same amount of weight. Next slide. How is the command formed in the Lamed Hey verb? All right. So what are we looking at, brothers and sisters, in this particular regard? Right? This word here, ta'ase. We're still dealing for this particular aspect with the root word Asa. As we already emphasized, asa means what? To make or to do, right? As we pointed out. So now when we look at this here, asa, this tau serves as a prefix. This yod serves as a prefix. This tau serves as a prefix. This tau serves as a prefix. This wow serves as a suffix. This yod serves as a prefix. This wow serves as a suffix. This tau serves as a prefix. This nun and hey serves as a suffix. All right? So now looking at this right here, asa in root means to do or to make. So now when we say ta'aseh, brothers and sisters, it means you will do or you will make. All right, ta'aseh. That's when you speak it to one male. Then we have ya'aseh. He will do. Then we have ta'asi. You will nah. You will do when speaking, brothers and sisters. I want to put the F here for feminine. All right. So that's something we want to point out in that particular regard. Ta'asi, ta'asu. You all will do. Ya'asu. They will do. Masculine. All right. They will do. Masculine. Ta'asena, as we went over before, means they will do feminine or you all will do feminine, as we explained in the Hebrew class Friday night. All right. So now, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes, how is the command formed in the Lamed Hey verb? Now remember, as we went over, Lamed Hey verb is any verb that ends with the letter Hey. So when you look at this here, the laser pointer, ta'aseh, how the command is formed, we want to emphasize, and I want to put this inside of the blue, all right, for Hebrew understanding. That's taken out. So you left with the ayin, the sin, and the hey. And this means do. Exclamation point. So ta'aseh, brothers and sisters, becomes aseh, which means do or make when you speak it to a male. So if you were speaking to a male and giving a command form, you would say, aseh hashi'ur, do the lesson. All right, that's how that works in that. Now, brothers and sisters, looking at this right here, Yah aseh, he will do. All you did, and we want to emphasize, is drop off the particular pronoun. What I'm saying is, in order to get the aspect of the command form, brothers and sisters, you drop off the pronoun of what's making it the future tense. By doing so, the word that you're left with is the command form itself. So now let's look at this right here. Ta'asi. You drop that off, that tau, that's the prefix, and then you get this here. Do, when you're speaking to a female. All right, and I want to emphasize by putting the letter F there for feminine or female. All right, I see. So let's say if a person speaking to a female, they would say, I see how she ur, which means do the lesson. Now the word she ur is a masculine word, but the word lesson she ur doesn't change gender because you're speaking to a female. All right, it's just the aspect of who you're commanding. That wording itself changed between masculine and feminine. All right, so that's something I want to point out in that particular regard. Then we have ta'asu. As we see right here, I want to show this with the laser pointer. Ta'asu, brothers and sisters, right? When you have it, one more time, you just drop off, brothers and sisters, the pronoun, and you get the word asu. The word asu, brothers and sisters, means do. When you're speaking to males only or males and females. So if you were speaking to 3 males and 9 females, you would say asu hashi ur, which means do the lesson. All right. So that's just something we want to point out in that particular regard. All right. By now you should get that the word shiur means lesson. All right. Are there any questions about what we went over so far? Okay. Now, here we see ta'asena. What you do, brothers and sisters, is just drop off the pronoun there. Then you have the word asena. As you see there, meaning do. All right. Asu do. Asena do. Now, this right here, I want to emphasize is feminine plural. So if you're speaking to all males, right, you would say asu. If you're speaking to males and females, you would say asu. If you're speaking to only females, no males whatsoever, you would say asena. Do. That's how that works in that particular regard. All right, so we could begin to see this to this, this to this to this, and this to that. Ta'ase, ase. Ta'asi, asi. Ta'asu, asu. Ta'asena, asena. So what am I pointing out, as stated earlier, is that to formulate the command form, all you do is drop off the prefix of what's showing it as the future tense. Next slide. How the command is formed in quote regular verbs, right? Let's look at this here. We have tik tob, tik to be, tik taboo, tik tobna. The root of this word right here, all right, as shown before, is the word katab. The word katab, as we went over before, means to write. So now, tiktob means you will write. So just as in the case of the other one, you drop off the aspect of the prefix, and then you get kitob, which is the command form meaning write. Okay? What we're saying, tiktob, you will write. To get the command form, you drop off the prefix there. And then you get the word kitob, meaning write. Now, what you're looking at here, brothers and sisters, tik to be is literally meaning, speaking to a female, you will write. Future tense. As we emphasized before, the future tense is noted, brothers and sisters, by the aspect of the pronoun put as a prefix. So now if you take that part out, you left with this word here, keet be. Now, I want to emphasize on something, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes. The way with the vowels, right, in regards to this particular one, with the word teak to be, is kirik, teak, teak to be. Now let's look at this how under the laser part, brothers and sisters. You see the kaf has a shawah as well as the tau, the third letter there has a shawah. Teak to be, right? What are we emphasizing on, brothers and sisters? Is that when you're dealing with the vowels, brothers and sisters, in this particular regard, the kaf has a shawah. The tau there has a shawah. As we pointed out before, you would see sometimes a wow, pardon me, you would see sometimes a shawah with both the second and third letter. The second and third letter, but never the first and the second. So now, when you show this now inside the command form, this shawah with the kaf becomes a kirik, kit b. Why? Because you can't have the first and second letter with a shawah. So that's something, brothers and sisters, I want to point out for edification purposes. So now you drop off, okay, if we will, tik to be in this regard. Then you just left with the kaf, tau, bet, and yod. But because the shawah cannot be with the any first letter and any second letter of any given word, this being the word now is kit be, because the kaf becomes the first letter, the tau becomes the second letter because you dropped off the prefix of the first tau, which the pronoun was. All right, so now it becomes kit be. And since, as emphasized, you wouldn't have a shawah as the first letter and the second letter, that shawah becomes a kirik. All right, so let's go on, if you will, to the next part. We have here tik tabu. Now, one more time, you just drop off the aspect of that prefix and you get what? Kitbu. Kitbu, brothers and sisters, means right. When you're speaking to males or females, mixed. Now, kitbi, okay, this is the command form we're talking about. Female. I want to emphasize that. You wouldn't tell a male kitbi. You wouldn't tell one female katob, because there's masculine and feminine once it comes down to the Hebrew language. So now let's look at this right here. You have what? Kitbu. Right. Kitbu. Right. Now, what I'm going to circle, brothers and sisters, in the red here is when you're speaking to males only or a mixture of males and females. All right. So, are there any questions concerning what we've gone over so far? We have Tiktobna. All right. So now, as the pattern been showing, you drop off the prefix showing it from its future tense, and this is how you get the command form. All right. Kotobna. Kitobna. Tiktobna. Ketobna. You drop off this part right here, you get Ketobna. And that's feminine plural command form. All right. Somebody asks, does each command form only apply to one pronoun? I don't understand the question. The pronouns as shown here is serving as a prefix. That's the tau, the tau, and that. I don't understand the question, my brother. When you ask, does each command form only apply to one pronoun? Because when you look at kitbu, that's pluralized. And so if I was speaking to two males, I would say kitbu, which means I'm telling them to write. If I say, for instance, if you know the people I know, the brother Shuvadia online, right? If you know the people I know, as we emphasized from last Friday night, right? Some of the people I mentioned, the women you mentioned, who I know, and so forth, right? If you're used to going to any camp, you heard the terminology, this, and I'm quite certain of it. I almost put a dollar on this one, right? And that's this word here. Kumu. Sounds familiar, huh? The word kumu means what? Rise. But that's masculine plural. So if you're speaking to one male, right? Or you're speaking to a mixed, or pardon me, if you're speaking to um males or males and females, you would say kumu. But you know kumi, brothers and sisters, is to one female, and kum is to one male. So hopefully that answered the question if I even understood what you were asking. All right. Did I answer your question, my brother? Let's say there. All right, let's go on. All right. Hebrew is easy. The book available online. You can get it on lulu.com or amazon.com. I can be reached at 908-587-4841. All right. And that's by calling or by texting. And the email is kashubhut@gmail.com. The website is danitepublications.com. And I want to emphasize that. All right. Because I have a website actually. danitepublications.com. All right. So here's the website, the telephone number, the email address, sorry. Website, email, telephone number. Okay. So, and you can get this book on Amazon or on lulu.com. All right. So let me ask, are there any questions? Are there any questions or comments or so forth concerning this presentation? All righty. Somebody typed in Ain Lee, which means in Hebrew, I have not. All right. Now, I want to go over, brothers and sisters, this part right here, which to me is very important. One learns the alphabet and the vowels. Once you understand the alphabet and the vowels, you become a reader. All right. And then you get a dictionary. From getting a dictionary, having already become a reader, you've been beginning to build your vocabulary. So you want to learn the words that you normally use in everyday English speech, right? Then once you get to the aspect of from being a reader, building your vocabulary, you then get into grammar. Once you get into grammar, having already built your vocabulary, your understanding of grammar, the next thing you become is a speaker. That is the goal of this channel. All right. So there will be another Hebrew lesson. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell on top, so that way when you get the notification, you will know when the class is starting. I know that it's like 8:39 a.m. in the morning, and because I'm gonna be dealing with my family, my little one later on, is the reason why I came online and did the teaching at this time. Because from 1 o'clock on today, I'll be busy with my family, so I won't have the time to sit there and deal with that. All right. So with that being the case, brothers and sisters, I say shalom. The contact information has already been presented in this presentation. All right. Shalom Lakem.